Don't miss Clownfish Studios' latest crowdfunder, Crimson Wren Volume 1 on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Thaddeus Wendell's greatest treasure is out there, and it's up to young mage Crimson Wren and the crew of a rundown airship called the True North to find it. But will they find it in time? Crimson Wren of the True North is a race against the clock filled with action, adventure, comedy, and heart. This is a brand new manga-style graphic novel from Clownfish Studios. Go to crimsonwren.com or check it out on Indiegogo and Kickstarter. It ends on November 18th. That's November 18th. And now on with the video. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Disney. We've got another daily dose of dismal Disney for you. Disney stock has been dropping since yesterday, since it came out that they missed. And people are talking about how much they're spending on streaming. Their streaming costs are ballooning, and they're not bringing the revenue in like they need to be. So we're gonna talk about this. Is this gonna be the end of Bob Chapek? I don't know.
They just gave him another contract, so not that long ago.
There was a lot of razzle dazzle.
There was like of the storytellers, because we're the storytellers, because our brand is the story of the storytellers. And everything's fine here because remember, there was a hurricane that,
for a week.
There was a hurricane. That's why we're at the end, last quarter was only 6% better than last year's last quarter. And we added all those upcharges since then and it only went up that much.
Remember, guys, Wakanda's coming. That's going to save us.
They did that one too.
Wakanda's coming. Avatar 2's coming. So
and Hocus Pocus 2 was fantastic in its opening weekend, right? Before everybody realized it sucked. It was funny. I saw somebody I knew today, and she's like, I haven't even watched it because I'm afraid to, and I've heard it was terrible from everybody I talked to.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So I'm like, yeah, it did great. I'm sure it did. Everybody was waiting for it. And then after they saw it, people were like, what was this? And then it just went
just like their stock. So we're gonna talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, over 280, almost 281,000 subs. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're still subscribed. I had people asking me today why I unsubscribed them. Why I unsubscribed them. I didn't.
We don't.
YouTube does. Same people that a lot of people are like, why'd you delete my comment? I'm like, well, one, we get, no offense, we get so many comments these days, we don't get to look at them all. And two, a lot of times YouTube is very aggressive with comment filtering.
And they'll filter out weird stuff that doesn't. And you're like, why did they block that? I don't know.
Every once in a while, I'll check the bin, basically the trash bin of the comments that YouTube has filtered out, and some of them are like really nonchalant. So it's either they don't like that account, they think the account's suspicious, or people are saying stuff or a trigger word or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about this, right? So Disney had their earnings call yesterday for the end of year, and it was a very low-key event. It wasn't a very celebratory victory lap.
It was over pretty quick, too, all things considered.
Yeah, they didn't want to take any more questions than they had to.
Yeah.
And basically it was like, yeah, we missed, but you know what? The parks did really good because we're gouging people. And also Disney Plus is going to be profitable in 2 years. Okay, bye.
So when you ask this question, why wasn't this profitable? Well, because the hurricane. So they missed on the revenue by almost 6%. Is that
they missed.
But you said every time you say you missed, I keep thinking Daddy Daycare. I missed, and then all the shareholders look at the ceiling like, oh my god.
So there's a lot of talk about potential layoffs. We did a video before talking about how. The Galactic Star Cruiser, nobody's booking this thing. Yahoo Finance even is talking about how they might have to combat the recession with, theme parks revenue. I mean,
but that's, theme parks are weakening.
They're saying it's weakening. It's up. I mean, they've got more revenue coming in because of Lightning Lane and Genie Plus and all that crap, right? And they're charging you $10 for a whiff of cake. But it's look. The recession's coming, like it or not. There's a whole bunch of layoffs that are going to be announced today at Facebook, I guess. And tech was like one of those industries that was supposed to be immune to mass layoffs like this.
It's not, as we've been telling you.
No, and people aren't going to spend $5,000-$6,000 on a Disney vacation.
Recession's coming. People are worried. Elections happen. People are worried. I think there's just a lot of people they're just waiting to see. In the holidays, they're already saying people are saying they're going to spend less, or they're going to spend the same amount, but then they're going to buy less because the dollar doesn't go as far, and people cannot justify the upcharges at Disney.
So yeah, she said that they're gonna discount things, but not as much as they did during 2009. Now 2009, 2010, that was actually about the time we started going to Disney, and they had all kinds of crazy deals. I mean, they were giving away massive room discounts. They were giving away dining plans. They were, letting your kids stay for free, your kids eat for free. All kinds of things.
Are you talking about discounts in the parks or talking about discounts for other things?
In the parks, yeah.
They're going to have to. Well, this is after but supply and demand. Supply and demand. Chapek has been going on every time there's a huge price hike with supply and demand. And I noticed too they were talking about, well, our park reservation system, and they basically were saying without saying it, we're going to look at, who's there and who's not there, and we can change it up to, any minute of any day to, make sure we cut out certain types of people, what they're saying, annual pass holders mostly.
Annual pass holders and poor people. We don't want them. Yeah, they did miss a little bit though on the theme parks. And that's with the pricing.
Right, that's what I said. They had all that stuff that is increases, but it kept supply and demand. Well, then the supply and demand is telling you got the demand must be down for your shit, even though there's people there all the time.
All the headlines talking about how Disney stock is falling. Disney quarter, no fairy tale is streaming cost mount. They're talking about the increased cost of spending for content for streaming to win the streaming wars, or at least stay competitive in the streaming wars.
And you have to remember too, it's not just the United States they're buying content for. They're doing it for they went and bought several different international markets and put their Hotstar Plus or Disney Plus in those markets. And they make content specifically for those areas as well.
Yeah, I think this is funny because people are, they were telling us before, well, here's kind of the trend. 2020 to 2022, they had a bump. In 2021, everybody's like, Disney's doing fine, everybody. Disney's going to go up and up and up and up. And actually, Disney's one of those stocks that never really goes up and stays up. But right now, they're down to pandemic levels. Disney stock's down to pandemic levels. So this article came up on CNBC. We're fed up after Disney's terrible quarter and streaming losses. It's time for some big changes. They said Disney reported weaker than expected fiscal fourth quarter results. We're shocked and stunned. This is CNBC. We're shocked and stunned by the poor performance, and we're certainly not alone. The stock fell roughly 7% in after hours trading. It's down 12% now. As shareholders for the club, we think it's time for a leadership change.
Ooh, here it comes.
Yeah, they want Bob Chapek gone. Revenue for the quarter increased 9% year over year, et cetera, et cetera. Bottom line, our main issue is with the losses at streaming, and sure, you could argue that losses have reached an inflection point and management completely cleared the decks and reset expectations, but this part of the business will likely lose much more in fiscal year 2023 and 2024 than previously expected, weighing on earnings and pressuring the stock. Maybe this is why they changed the end to She-Hulk, because it's cheap.
Well, what they're worried about too is, because people are worried about spending money, and there's too many streaming services. People are canceling things right and left. And then where Netflix offered, and their stock went up because they offered an ad-supported tier that actually was a bargain and was a deal for people. Disney's version, they keep going about, the ad-supported tiers coming. The advertisers are lined up. Yes, but the ad-supported tier is the same cost as what their basic tier is now. So now what you're paying, instead of getting a discount, we'll keep it the same for everybody else, but if we want an ad-supported tier because we're gonna get the extra ad money, we'll give the consumers a $4.99 or $5.99 price tag. No, the $7.99 stays that price for those people, but then everybody else who doesn't want the ads have to pay a lot more.
Yeah, and ad rates are dropping, guys.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, but the reason that Facebook is gonna be laying off so many people is that the ad revenue is not there. It's companies are not spending what they were spending. Again, we own multiple blogs. We own multiple YouTube channels. We are seeing it in real time. We're small, we're nimble, but bigger companies, they can't weather the storm.
Well, that's what they're saying. They're saying that they had estimates of 13.8 billion, but it was 12.73. However, operating income fell 91% to 83 million, mostly due to higher than expected losses from direct-to-consumer business. Now remember, Disney shifted their entire business model to direct-to-consumer in 2020.
Yeah. They're saying it's time for Bob Chapek to go. They flat said it's time for Bob Chapek to go, and he's all about, driving up the prices. But the thing is the company loses consumer confidence on so many levels, like the theme parks cost too much. Marvel and Star Wars are in the gutter. They're not making the money they were making before. Wakanda Forever might do okay. I don't know. to be honest, I mean, it's a Black Panther movie without the Black Panther, and it's supposed to have Namor in it, but they replaced him with Namor. So, I don't know how it's going to go. They said that, it's a big disappointment to see losses swell to this size, but the silver lining here is that management believes this quarter reflects the peak in direct-to-consumer operating losses.
Here's the thing, though. Management's going to say whatever management has to say to save their asses.
Yes, it was a very short call for being end of fiscal year. We've listened to many of these, and it was like, they just wanted to get the hell out of there. And actually, it was kind of weird. They were late to get started. And I think they're kind of like, okay, guys, how are we going to spin this?
Make sure everybody's on the same page.
Make sure we're all on the same page here. But, Christine, don't say anything about people being fat.
Yeah, I know, right? We're talking about Disney's Q4 ended with 164.2 million Disney subscribers, up 12.1 million from the prior quarter, and above estimates of 160.45. Yes. But remember, too, Disney subscriber count is kind of wonky because they went and kind of rolled everyone into Disney Plus and ESPN just to make sure those numbers stayed up. And, they could do that one time, and they already did it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that the advertising's not going to bail them out.
No, they can't. Oh, remember, we're going to get advertisers lining up for our stellar brand and our stellar storytelling. Like let's call it a bunch of stellar storytelling.
They said bundling actually has a negative effect on ARPU. They said that their ARPU, which is average revenue per user, it actually fell 5%, and that's with price increases.
Because they did give you a deal when you did that, but they kind of made you do it, but you did get a deal.
But yeah, they're like the parks missed too. That's weird because they jacked the prices up. I'm going to argue the parks missed because they jacked the prices up, and
people are genuinely pissed.
Yeah. Yep. They said the return of international travelers is progressing as well. They said international attendance at WDW in Florida is roughly back to pre-pandemic
So they
levels.
can't use that excuse.
They don't have any excuse. Basically, Disney has been using the pandemic as a crutch for the last couple of years now. They benefited greatly from the pandemic when people were locked inside their houses and watching a lot of TV, and they were watching a lot of Disney Plus shows.
Now, the next part I do want to mention, because I thought this was interesting. They were talking about how they think that it's going to be okay, that they think that the fiscal year 2023 is going to be there's going to be okay as long as there's no meaningful shift in the macroeconomic climate. I know, right? I was like,
we're entering a recession. There's going to be what they're literally calling the job-pocalypse in tech. The job-pocalypse. We did a video on this. They're screwed. People do not have the luxury of being able to book a $5,000 to $10,000 vacation. People are going to start cutting corners. They're going to look at Hulu and be like, damn, I'm paying as much for Hulu as I'm paying for cable. Why am I paying this much? And they're going to start making cuts. And Disney is a very easy thing to cut. And they make themselves, especially if you were a Marvel or Star Wars fan and you're not happy with because that really is what was keeping people glued to Disney Plus. People haven't been happy with the last couple of shows. It makes it so easy to cut. Like, why am I subscribed to this when it's just subpar Marvel and Star Wars?
Right, they keep raising prices, not lowering them. Like I said, Netflix is giving you an actual deal if you're willing to put up with ads. Like Disney's not. We're basically jacking the prices on everyone. They announced they're doing another price hike on Hulu live TV with the
like
stuff.
$82.
It's like $79 or something like that. God. But they keep jacking the price on that. They just raised it like earlier this year, and they're doing it again. People are fed up. They're not Chapek's personal piggy bank. And then he mines data on you at the same time. So,
Yeah, they just keep going down, guys. It's dropping. I don't know what to tell you. It was dropping last night as we were watching as we were listening to the earnings report. You could see it dropping in real time. Like it was in the 90s and then it dropped down to $89. Now, today it's down to 87. Was down, I think, 83.
Just dropping and then went up, dropped.
It's dropping right now as we're recording this. Because they're looking at this and they're like, what do you got? Okay, so you got Wakanda Forever and you got Avatar 2 coming out, and then what?
Well, basically what they're doing is Disney's not saying anything because they know that tomorrow there'll be, the early people will start being able to see Wakanda Forever so they can start touting that.
Yeah, they're like, hey, Wakanda Forever breaks.
If it bombs, though. If it does, or not, I don't think it's going to bomb.
I don't think it's going to bomb.
I don't think it's going to either. But I think it's not going to do the numbers that they were hoping because you have a lot of stuff working against it. And mostly people not tell white people not to go see it is probably part of the problem. But tell people you're racist if you go see it. But I don't know how it's going to perform. I don't think the ads have been that great, and we'll see. It might do really well the first weekend. Then if it's good, it'll do better. If it's bad, it won't. But they're going to be banking on that for their stocks.
Oh yeah, and that's it. If either one of these movies is a misfire, it doesn't have to be a bomb, but if it doesn't perform,
their stock will go down.
Yeah, if it doesn't break $1 billion, if either one, Wakanda or Avatar, people are going to look at that and be like, well, that's it. Those were the two big releases they had. And we don't know when they're going to, and we're seeing declining viewership on Star Wars and Marvel shows, and they're spending a shit ton of money on content that people apparently aren't watching like they were. So
how low did it go, pandemic level? How low did it go? Stock.
It was like, I think it went down to like $83 or $84.
Okay, so it's
we're
literally
almost pandemic.
There.
Yeah. So anyway, that's when they said they're shutting all the parks down. So we're going to wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.